Good day, everyone. Welcome to Roundy's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. Today I have with me my friend author, KD Capener. I'm saying that
Capener.
correctly, yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm always those last names are killing me lately. I'm like,
That's okay.
and she just launched her first book, right? Is it your first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And in October, and we're excited to share her and her story with you all today. So, first of all, KD, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, sure. Right now, what I do is write. I did go into education. And so I used to work in the school system for a while. I raised my kids first, and then I went and did the working in the school. And then I decided when I turned 50, I was like, I have always wanted to write. I don't know, something about hitting 50 and you're like, I really don't know how many years I have left, so I need to get going. So that's what I did. But
So
I'm a mom of three grown kids, sorry, and just enjoying that stage of life with adult kids is kind of fun. So
it is. It's you and I have very similar paths that way because I too raised my kids. I worked in hospitals and stuff and did some jobs and stuff, but I raised my kids and then I went into teaching. And I
uh
too am turning 50, and I haven't managed to get out of that yet, but and just get to write. But I'm hoping that we can get there and stuff like that. How's that been being out of education? Because
I was ready for a change, actually. I mean, you're in it. Oh, some
I feel
days are
you.
really tough. Yeah. So, but it was more the dream of I need to have time to do this and not just try and spread myself too thin. And luckily, we're in a position that I could do that.
Yeah. That has been the hardest part is that I want to focus on the writing and I've loved that part and doing that, but balancing that has been,
Yes.
it's not working well.
Yeah. Finding the time is so hard.
Yeah, so I get that. So three kids, and they're all grown and
Yes. Mhm.
enjoying that part. Grandchildren, did you say yes? No?
Just one.
So fun. I've got 10 now, and I'm just in love with being a grandma. And that's one of my,
Yeah.
I would love to be able to retire is just that I could just sit and enjoy that time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we got one that lives with us, and it's been fun to have him and just come home and be able to be part of seeing that.
Yes. I know. Little kids are just so sweet.
Beautiful. Well, awesome. Well, you just then recently published your first book. Tell me, what was the journey? What got you started on wanting to write and then tell the story that you're sharing with us?
Have always wanted to write. So right after college, so I got my degree when I was like 22. I took a creative writing course through the Children's Literature Institute in New York, I guess. And back then it was like you mail in your assignments. Like we didn't have all this technology that's made it
That
easy.
phase word and you, yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. But then I just started having children and just, focused on that and put it off. And this story in particular, it just kind of came to me as I started thinking about what I wanted to write because I thought I would always write like children's picture books.
Mhm.
And this story, I just had this picture in my head of this girl standing in the woods. She's got a backpack. And I'm like, why am I thinking about this girl? What's going on? And I started to brainstorm. And I started asking, why is she there? Is she running from something? Is she running to something? What's going on? And as I started building that idea in my head, it got bigger and bigger. And it kind of laid itself all out in a story. It's actually one of the middle scenes in the story, but I just was able to outline the whole thing from beginning to end. And that's how I wrote it from beginning to end. And change things along the way that I decided would work better or move things around. But basically, I had that whole story, and the idea of this girl, like, it wouldn't leave me alone. And I just kept thinking, maybe this is what I'm supposed to write. And I was really kind of scared to write at first. I mean, it's a scary thing to put yourself out there for
Is
people to read your words.
yes. Yeah.
And, and then of course to have to go through everything else of learning about publishing and learning about marketing and all these things.
Mhm.
It was scary. So I kept it a little secret. Just my family knew. And one neighbor knew, and that's because he'd see me outside on my porch all the time. And he'd, what are you doing? Like with your computer and your tablet and stuff all the time. I was like, I'm writing a book. So that's how kind of how it all came about. And so I just felt like I was supposed to write this story, and that's what I did.
Well, when I was looking at the things you like to read, you had an interesting philosophy of that. I'd like you to share with me what your philosophy about being a reader and a writer, that relationship with each other was that you said.
I think, had I started writing when I was younger, I don't know that I would have had the life experience or the reading experience, that I've had over the years.
Right.
So I think, becoming a writer, you have to be a reader. You have to know, you have to just learn how stories develop, how they get played out with characters and themes and plot and pacing and things like that. You learn all the elements of a story as you become a reader. Now, does that mean you can sit down and write it straight out? Oh gosh, no. I mean, it's so hard.
I
You're always putting together these pieces of this story, and it's hard.
Mhm.
But I think reading helps you develop, first of all, a love for words.
Mhm.
Second of all, a love for stories. I love to read stories that have like a redemptive arc to them. Like the characters learn and they grow. And at the same time you're learning and growing. I always love it when I can learn something from a book.
Mhm.
Sometimes I do just read entertainment book, but it's pretty rare that I don't actually learn something new from a story. So,
I love that too. I'm a big fan of the redemptive stories. The ones that I read over and over again, the ones I go back to are those
mhm,
stories. And I always find that the older I get, the more I learn from those stories and can still take
yeah,
it in. And
it's so true.
right. And I hope that I'm
Mhm.
writing something that someone can do that too, right?
I know.
Like,
I know.
only what are some of your favorites, or what's one of the books that stands out to you that helped you to gain this, or that inspired you? I'm finding words today difficult.
Okay, so specifically for my story, for my book that I wrote, this book, I've got it right here, hidden by these walls, is a story of a girl that's facing abuse at home. And I, as I was, coming up with that story and thinking, do I really want to write a story about this? Like, how am I going to do this? So I picked up a book called What Beauty There Is by Corey Anderson. And it's a story of abuse, completely different from life. And hers is set in the present day. Mine is set in like the 1980s.
Hmm.
Hers, it was very heartbreaking, very sad. And in real life, these stories can be very sad, but I am a happy ending girl. And so when I wrote this story, it's got to end happy. I've got to find a way to make this end happily. But it's just, you know, I, as I was writing this book, the, it seemed like it was just all the time in the news. These news stories were coming about here in Utah about these child abuse cases. And I'm sure it's happening everywhere.
Oh yeah.
But those are the ones that I would see. And I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, this really is relevant. People need to be watching for these kinds of things and to be helping the kids who are in the situation if they can. In the story, one of the characters is Libby's boss at work, and she takes an interest in Libby. And she is one who is right there helping as soon as she learns what's going on. And I mean, I can't give any spoilers or anything, but
Right.
she's a great character. So,
Those helper characters are sometimes the most fun to write because they have their own story and they have their whole journey to that point where they see these things and stuff. And so it's always you wonder what their stories were, and you don't always get them. But we as authors have to come up with those and know where they
I
go.
know.
They don't go in the book. And in fact, sometimes those are the characters that I love the most, more than the lead sometimes, because
Mhm.
precious
Yeah.
in their parts and their. So you were inspired by was it a fictional story or was it a true story that you had read that one?
It was a fictional story. Yeah.
I remember when I was, we're probably around the same age, just a little bit here, but I remember when I was in high school and junior high, a child named It was very much, and that's kind of, I mean, I knew it was happening, but I don't think it was real to me, the seriousness and how bad things would be. And I
Mhm.
started reading books like that. And then Celeste Edmonds, her story, and you read these, and now I've got people that I know who've told me their stories, and it's like, oh my heavens. But I think, and it's hard to read a real account of it, but I think fictional, to me at least, I like the real stories, but to me, the fictional makes it easier for me to handle because I know it's not a real person that I know and
Right.
attached
This
to.
is yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That is true. And it can still be fiction, but still be very real.
Oh, yeah.
And, still learn a lot from it. And the reason that I said it in the 80s actually was because back then, where did you go? Like, who did you tell? Who it was pretty nobody talked about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, go to the police or tell a teacher or something, or you don't have phones. You didn't have computers where you could just get on and look up help or resources at the click of a button. And I'm not saying that's easy to do if you're in that situation, but you do have more options now where it's,
Yeah. Now you can,
available.
yeah, internet and resources.
Yes.
Still not easy to pick up that phone and make that call sometimes, but at least
Hmm.
I even also imagine, and the your title, Hidden by These Walls, the culture's changed a little bit now too with that, but it used to be that you didn't call on each other. You didn't call on your neighbors. You heard the fighting, you heard the things, but you just didn't say anything. You just,
Yep.
and even the police, there wasn't any laws mandating it now that we have, where if they see it, they can do something, whether or not there's charges pressed. But it used to be
Hmm.
they had to press charges,
Hmm.
do anything. And of course the victim was never going to
Yep.
and
It's that fear of what's going to happen if I do. So, yeah, I wanted to show how difficult it could be. And then I put it in there, with like she's determined that she's not going to live this way forever. And just as a way to say, like it is possible. It is possible. So I didn't want to change that. I just can't do it.
no, but and that's true too. I mean, there's a lot of sad stories out there, but if there are a lot of good ones out there. There is that hope. There is,
Yeah.
and I think that when we can see that hope, it inspires that change in society. It changes. And with another great thing for fiction is to be able to give us that and inspire that as well.
Yeah.
As a teacher, that comes to that too a little bit for me is as a teacher, we're part of that and seeing that
Mhm.
too.
Yep.
Did you have any of experiences where you saw children or taught children that you knew?
Um, no, I actually worked in a special ed class in an elementary school. And so I did academic social communication class. And then I also did resource.
Mhm.
So I didn't really see it all the time, but we got trained on it all the
I think
time.
that training is the hardest every year because they make the
Yeah.
same video with the same horrific, tragic stories every single year. And I'm just like, all right, I get it. I know I need to call. Okay. There's,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep,
Exactly. I
paperwork.
know the protocol.
Exactly. Please do
Yeah.
not make me feel this, but at the same time, to recognize that and see these kids and stuff like that too. But I'm glad you didn't
Mhm.
have to see any yet.
Yeah, I am too.
I've never had to report one, but I know of them that have happened. It's hard.
It's rough. Ugh,
I know, right? The things you pray for, not having to deal with in
I know.
in our line of work are things.
Yeah.
But so cool. So how has your reception been? How's it been after with this journey part of now it's published? What's it like?
Okay. Well, reception has been good. I'm scared to death. Like I just hope people like this and I'm not getting 1-star reviews all over Amazon or Goodreads or whatever. And actually the reception has been really good. The ratings are really good. And I have read some that are just like, this was really hard for me to read. It made me feel all these emotions and stuff, but that it was really well written and they could really feel something through the story. And that's another thing with stories is you do want to feel. You want to feel something. So yeah, it's been really great. And I'm really happy with it. I'm over that
Right.
scared bit. So
Right. And I think that's been the hardest part too, because similarly, my book has some very difficult chapters in it, and people are just like, "Oh, they're just so hard to read," because we don't want to feel uncomfortable and,
mhm,
and stuff like this. But like theater books and stuff give us those uncomfortable things and help us to see them and feel them without having to live it. And
yes. Yes.
well, it's
Yeah.
great. What are you working on something new? What are your goals?
I am working on something new. It's not a sequel. Everybody's asking me, is it like a sequel? They want to know what happens to a couple of these kids. And I'm like,
Oh.
no, I'm not going any further with that
Standalone.
one. That
Just
was
leave it on the cliff.
sta-
There we go.
yes, standalone. The next one is a standalone also. It's also YA.
Mhm,
It's based on something that happened to me when I was a little older, when I was in my 30s. But it's a health issue. And I'm giving that to a teenager
mhm,
and seeing what they do with that because it was life changing. And so I wanted to explore that through the eyes of a teenager.
mhm.
So that's the next one. And I'm actually almost finished. I'm really old fashioned and I write with my hand. I actually use a remarkable tablet though, so I'm not that old fashioned,
Okay.
but I write with my hand and
Apples
then
are
I put it in the computer like as a first edit.
uh-huh.
So I'm almost done with the writing. I'm on the last chapter or two. So
Oh,
yeah,
yay.
yeah. So I'm
Exciting.
excited for that one.
That'll be so much fun.
Yep.
What is the main message or idea that you want people to come away with from your writing, the one you've done now and the ones you're looking to do in the future? What is it that you really hope people get out of your stories?
I hope that they realize that there's hope. Like everyone goes through trials, like whatever kind of trials, but there's always hope and we can always find ourselves becoming resilient through getting through those trials. And I also want to say follow your dreams too. Don't wait forever. Don't wait till you're 50 and you say, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting so old." Just follow it. Don't I tell people that all the time. I don't know why I was just so afraid to especially I think with social media to get on there and to market for me as like in my 50s compared to these youngsters. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I'm scared to death to do that. But it's really been a good experience for me and I've learned a lot. So just don't put it off if you want to do something. You never know how long you have. So
Exactly. It doesn't matter how old you are, that things happen every day that you just never know. And
yeah.
I waited a long time and I wish I hadn't as well.
Yeah.
I was like,
Same.
dude, I was having my kid, like you say, the priorities shift and the priorities change. I
Mhm.
would never trade it, having my kids and stuff. I just wish I'd taken that time for me a little bit, maybe, and done more
Yes.
with that then that I could have.
Yes.
Can't waste it now though, and just look
Right.
right and keep moving forward.
That's right.
Ew. Do you have any book signings coming up? Where can we find you? Where can we order your books? Where can we follow you?
I don't have any coming up that I have scheduled yet. I'm trying to get some scheduled.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's on all basically the online retailers, and you can get it in the ebook and in the paperback from those places. You can follow me on Instagram at KD Capener author. It's all one word. Same way as Facebook, KD, only it's got the periods in there this time. KD Capener author. I'm also on BookBub and Goodreads. So yeah, on Goodreads, I've got, I don't know, 20, 30 reviews or so. I'm trying to get up to 50. So yeah, just check it out on there. It's called Hidden by These Walls, and it looks like this. Nice blue cover.
I remember when we voted on the cover and you were putting it out and then you were doing
Yes.
so much fun to
Yeah.
get that part of it and doing. So everyone go check out KD Capener and order her books and go on Goodreads and give her reviews. Remember, the best gift you can give an author is a review.
I know.
Help us out because, like we're not great at the social marketing. We can use your help on all of those things, but and look forward to more stories and more inspiring, hopeful messages from Katie. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
on with me, Katie. I love it. It's been wonderful. Yeah. Anything else you want to add or say today?
No, thank you for having me though. It's great to meet you and talk about this. And I hope people will check it out and that they'll love it as much as everyone else has.
Whoever will read it and needs it, they'll get it. That's what I say anymore, right?
That's right.
Well, thank you. And join us next time on Roundy's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. Know your love. Have a great night, everyone.